So listen, I've been an Xbox fan for as long as I can remember, just literally from the beginning. I was always an Xbox fan. It's just something about it really kind of attracted me to the platform. I mean, I had been gaming already for a very long time. I enjoyed the Dreamcast. I thought the PS2 was pretty cool, but it was just something about the Xbox that was different, and it was really pushing what I was trying to be at that particular time, very much as like a hardcore gamer or whatever the case may be. That's probably the best thing, the way I can describe it, as being an Xbox fan or whatever. And to this day, that's pretty much why. I mean, even though there's been like a ton of changes and things like that to the brand that have pretty much negatively impacted it, and that's a real shame, because I feel like they've done a decent job with making sure that they have a good piece of hardware and things like that. And I've always stuck by that. I've said, hey, you know what? Xbox has, some pretty good hardware. They make foolish mistakes, though, when it comes to a lot of the things that they do. And, with this bit of information and news, I feel like it's just like more mistake, and that's really kind of unfortunate. Hopefully, they can kind of come out and maybe change how they're handling some of this stuff. But yeah, it's unfortunate because they're kind of the pariah of the industry right now. And yeah, they did come out and say, hey, we haven't given up on Xbox consoles. We're still gonna do one, blah blah blah. And I think that sounds good in theory, but when you start to see the other parts of that information, right? That entire leak or whatever was about more than just them stopping Xbox. It was also Microsoft. A lot of these companies are going to stop. They're going to pull Xboxes from their stores and things like that, which again is a super negative thing in my opinion, to see that happening. It's easy to go and say, okay, well, they denied this, so that means it's not happening. But then you see, like, the other things happening from that leak, and you just kind of go, well, how honest are they really going to be? Because if you think about it, Microsoft has been very, very, kind of known to and prone to lie, flat out. There's not a Phil Spencer quote that doesn't kind of have some kind of lie in it. I mean, from the very beginning, he's very much lied about pretty much everything. Xbox exclusives, he even said when they pulled Kinect from being forced on people, that Kinect's still an important part of their plans, etc., etc. Then, of course, they completely killed that. And, we're kind of going about those things kind of the wrong way or whatever. So, we'll see how this kind of stuff changes and how it kind of works out. But, I'm interested to see how this kind of all works out, how it pans out. How will people treat Xbox in the future? But we do see that this is actually something very interesting. Is we saw the Costco's thing, which a lot of people made fun of that. They're like, well, who cares about Costco? Well, when you figure out they're the third biggest retailer in the US, then you start to maybe go, oh, okay, that could be a bit of a problem. And now they're being severely discounted at Sam's Club as well, and they are clearing stock. So the Series S console was once a reasonably inexpensive way to access popular AAA titles. It's no longer affordable following Xbox price increases, but Sam's Club is clearing out the remaining inventory. Warehouse numbers are reporting an Xbox Series S price cut of 40% off its manufactured retail price suggestion. So yeah, there is that. Several major retailers have opted to stop selling Xbox consoles after yet another price increase. The Walmart-owned Sam's Club is the latest members exclusive warehouse club to discount remaining systems. Posters in the U.S. locations have confirmed seeing clearance on Series S prices of $239 as well. And again, so that's pretty interesting. Sam's Club advertised a similar Series S price cut before, but not since the most recently announced increase. The 1 terabyte alternative also suffered a price hike from $429 to $449. Launching at $299 way back in 2020, the entry-level console was once considered an attractive value. The compact machine can't run most games at 4K, but it still is compatible with the same titles as the Series X. Until Game Pass subscriptions became costlier, it was also a tempting way to access a growing library of entertainment. However, when demanding $400 for a slightly lower on Amazon, and then also the price inflated to $500 for the PS5 Slim, seems much more enticing because it's much more powerful. Currently, Sam's Club still lists the Series S on the website, but its more expensive cousin is noticeably absent. Competing stores in the US and around the world have elected not to carry the consoles at their new price points. Costco confirmed that it would stop offering the gaming systems in the US and the UK before they disappear from shelves. New Zealand buyers reported an Xbox Series X price reduced by 50%, as they're trying to clear off the stock as well, which isn't really too surprising when you think about it. With the savings on the original Switch also now rare, budget gamers are finding fewer affordable options. A used PS4 is contender, but Sony is gradually phasing out support for the machine. The lack of exclusive Xbox games also gives buyers fewer reasons to consider Microsoft's console. So yeah, there's a big problem right there. Again, we're starting to see multiple of these types of stores start to kind of ignore Xbox altogether, which, that's not a good thing. I know people are going to say, well, who cares? This is a company. I mean, if Sam's Club is doing it and they're owned by Walmart, then what are the chances that Walmart could be next? I think that's probably a big question that a lot of people have and probably want an answer to. We just don't really know the final answers to that. So we'll have to see how that kind of works out and how Microsoft plans to kind of handle that in the future, because, if they're not going to take time to kind of sell games and do that kind of stuff and have a console that's widely available worldwide, you're gonna have a lot of issues with developers not supporting it, obviously not putting their full effort onto it, and that's gonna be a real issue going forward. I think when you look at it and you go, okay, well, how is Microsoft gonna handle some of this stuff? How are they going to do this? How are they going to do that? Like that, those are all perfectly good questions in my opinion. When you look at kind of how things are right now, like Microsoft isn't in a great place, and it would definitely be something that everybody would kind of want to focus on a little bit anyway. So again, for me anyway, it does seem like with huge price hikes, retailers like Costco and Sam's Club and others are moving hardware. Microsoft's massive layoffs over the summer, it's not unsurprising that people were speculating on Xbox's console's demise. Microsoft is absolutely awful at managing faith in its consumer products, and it's really kind of interesting how this is kind of being affected. So gaming's not a necessity or a utility, it's basically something that people do as a hobby or for fun, and right now Xbox is kind of the pariah of the gaming industry. I don't think that it's ever been this low, like the morale for Xbox fans or whatever. It's like hard to really understand. I mean, there's a handful of people, God bless them, they are still full Xbox Go or whatever, but I think the more reasonable people, we look around and we just go, okay, this is really a bad situation that we find ourselves in for gaming as a whole in general. It's something that we cannot I think put up with as fans. We can't sit there and just go, oh, okay, well, everything will get better, or everything will survive, or it'll be okay. I think that's the wrong mentality to kind of look at with this stuff. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from with that. Not trying to be divisive or anything like that, just trying to be as honest as I can possibly be about this. It's just one of those things where Microsoft's going to have to do better. When all these rumors and stuff started that Microsoft was, stopping hardware and stuff, it's easy to believe because they treat their console like crap. It's just the facts of the matter is you're selling something to people and you're taking away the reasons to really own it, which is unfortunate. But the thing is that makes you kind of realize, oh, well, maybe they will do something with the next console, is because you have to sign a contract when you agree to have like chips made or whatever, and they have these AMD chips and they sign a contract, and so if they cancel, they have to pay a bunch of money, and it probably behooves them more to release a console. Even if it sells poorly, they would probably lose less money that way than just by outright canceling it. So, you know, we'll have to see how things go. But again, there's heavy rumors that they canceled the handheld, and you know, we don't know very much about how the future is going to change for a lot of this stuff with the gaming, and you know, exclusives not being a thing anymore and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. It's certainly an interesting time, though. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. I'll link this so you can check it out. How do you feel about it? Let me know. Rack 'em up. Have a great day. Crap Gamer out.